Andre, how's it going?
Hey man, I'm feeling good after watching those amazing football games all weekend. But other than that, how was your weekend, man?
Hey, it was a snowy weekend here in Boston. Definitely enjoyed these playoffs. It seems like every one of these matchups was quite literally scripted somehow, some way. Loved each and every one of how these teams, basically just matched up against one another. So, what was your takeaway with the games that we saw this past weekend? Who had the biggest win or who had the biggest loss? Was it Mahomes and the victory and Lamar and his victory, or was it really the loss incurred by none other than Josh Allen once again?
I'm gonna go with Josh Allen, man. You know, Josh Allen played his ass off yesterday, man. That guy was getting run. I mean, when you 6'5", 245 pounds, 250, you're a different type of animal when you're running through. And he was running through people, getting those yardage. The arm was beautiful. Like, I mean, he putting the spirals on, throwing deep balls, getting Shakir involved, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, getting those guys involved. Yo, he was out there really putting it on his back, and he went and got 2 rushing touchdowns yesterday. You know, you would have thought Buffalo in their environment, in their home, they was finally to be due to get the win over Pat Mahomes, man. But Pat Mahomes, man, I hate Pat Mahomes' guts because it seems like he will never turn the bus left. The bus always go right with Pat Mahomes, and it kill me. And a lot of that be because of his own doing. And he gets some referee assistance from time to time. But I'm going to give him his props, man. A lot of that is due to him. He really that guy, man.
He
And it
really is.
kills me to see this guy make play after play after play. He don't have no elite wide receivers. He got Travis Kelce and Isaiah Pacheco. And he got the Pips, the same Pips that were background singers for Gladys Knight. A lot of those guys' names you don't even care about. Rice is good. I'm going to give Rashee Rice. He's a good wide receiver. He could be a solid, Pro Bowl level wide receiver in the future. But after that, it's a bunch of jabronis. Pat Mahomes is out here throwing strikes to people. You got Scatland, the Mr. Drop the Ball. He making plays yesterday for those guys. Valdez Scatland, that is. This guy's a drop machine, and he's out there making plays. Come on, man. I mean, at what point will Pat Mahomes fall? And then for Josh Allen, I feel bad for him, man, because every game that he played against Pat Mahomes, he showed his ass just like Pat did, but he winds up on the short end of the stick every single time. And it hurt when you lose at home, man. At home, Pat Mahomes' first road game in the playoffs, never been on the road. That's a testament to his greatness, not ever playing a road game in the playoffs. And what did he do? He wasn't shook. He looked like he'd been there before. This was nothing new for him. Oh, it killed me that this brother is this good, man.
Like you said, Patrick Mahomes is reminiscent at this phase in his career, no different really than how you and I both felt about Michael Jordan, with his first, march to those first 3 championships. I remember when MJ was coming up, and I'd be like, I'm a Celtics fan, and I'm looking at this guy just doing whatever he needs to be able to do on the court, and I'm like, who is this Michael Jordan cat? And then all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3 championships later, I'll raise my hand and say I'm MJ's number one.
You're going to bow down before the king eventually. Eventually, you will bow down before the king. I don't want to be that guy with Pat Mahomes, man. I need Lamar to get him out of here, but we'll get into that later.
We'll get into that.
Josh, I'm sorry, Josh. Tyler Bass, you get paid to do one thing. Kick a football. You cost your team the game going wide, right, in a stadium that And the wind wasn't blowing on your side. It was
No,
no wind. You look at the goalpost, the flags on it, it wasn't brushing all over the place. That was an easy, manageable kick that you've made countless of times. But
we
pressure
uh
bust
we don't
pipes.
we don't like bringing up Gary Anderson on this show or the immortal Scott Norwood from the
Oh, God.
Super Bowl meltdown as a kicker, as you have it. But Tyler Bass, I mean, one of the things that stands out to me about this guy is, he's made some big kicks in his career, right? But if you're a kicker and you're doing the one eye black deal, doesn't that make you a little lopsided? I mean, if there's one thing that you're going to do to pull something right, I don't know, Tyler Bass, if you're a kicker, you want to be like even on both sides, right? I mean, you want to be like locked in, even both sides, right down the middle of the goalpost. Obviously, he's pulling stuff like a bad golf swing.
Do you think he was expecting to get froze out and they call a timeout? Maybe because they didn't do that to him. They let him rock out and go ahead and kick the field goal. I don't, the stadium, the angles, everything there is the need to know to kick and make that field goal. What happened was same thing with Gary Anderson, bro. I remember watching Minnesota, Atlanta, probably just like you did. Randall, Robert Smith, Chris Carter, Randy Moss. You know what I mean? These guys were finally had the elite team. You know what I mean? Jake Reed, just to name a few. And Gary Anderson ain't missed a field goal all year, just to miss the biggest field goal of his life. It sometimes, bro, pressure bust pipes, bro. And you just saw it right there. He folded under the pressure, man.
Well said. Pressure does bust pipes. And yeah, so let's move on from the kickers and talk about Diggs, Mr. Stephon Diggs, because this is a guy who has been an elite playmaker since the catch in Minnesota, right? He kind of, I think, put himself on the superstardom kind of map once he made that play as a young guy. And when you watch his productivity the last number of years in Buffalo, I mean, he's been the number one. He's been the premier guy. He's been the showcase dude. But if you ask me, Khalil Shakur has outplayed him probably for the last several months.
Oh, yes, he has. Oh, yes, he has. Stephon Diggs, I need you to step up to the damn plate because you about to take a dive. You've been complaining. You had family members throw players under the bus on the low. When family members do that, it's always going to be looked at as you said that, no matter if you did or didn't. So your play, you've been complaining about, you're not getting the opportunities. You have not done what you have done in the past. You've dropped a lot of footballs this year. You fumbled a few footballs this year. And it's evident with yesterday. You had drops yesterday, and the most key drop, you got a bomb delivered to you right here, and it go right through your goddamn hands. I don't want to hear shit about nobody giving you no opportunity because I wouldn't throw shit your direction no more after that drop. That was horrible, and it was inexcusable, and that's what's cost the Buffalo Bills. It really isn't Tyler Bass. Yes, he missed the field goal, but you cost your team by not making a grab that you make 99% out of the time. And you took that 1% yesterday to drop it. This is on you.
And like you said, if Stephon Diggs was lining up to be on the Eagles practice field tomorrow,
I will tackle that motherfucker. You're not making it nowhere near the facility. I don't want your toxic energy nowhere near the facility, the team. We don't need that. I get divas. Wide receivers are divas. I'm cool with that as long as you making plays. You have not played Stephon Diggs like football this year, and you cost your team a win over Pat Mahomes. This is on you, Stephon Diggs.
That's a heavy crown to carry, and like you said, Diggs, a lot of back channeling, a lot of suspect sort of rumors, like through the grapevine, and I mean, you can't be out there as a guy expecting to be a leader on your team, like you said, throwing around fingers, pointing fingers out, all these other kinds of things. One of the other things that I think that we need to talk about is the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I mean, we've given a lot of props to Mahomes. Mahomes is Mahomes. The guy is like the T-1000 or whatever in Terminator 2. You cannot get rid of this dude. However, that defense for Kansas City, shout out Steve Spagnuolo, shout out L'Jarius Sneed, hemming up the cheetah back at, whenever that was, like you said, bump and run, technique, textbook, all the way to Cancun goes the cheetah, right? So just how are you feeling about this upcoming matchup right here with Lamar now facing not only Mahomes, but obviously I think the best daggone defense that Mahomes has had on his squad since we've seen him be playing.
Steve Spagnuolo been a great defensive mind since he was a defensive assistant to Jim Johnson when he was here with the Eagles. Like I told you a week or two ago, Andy Reid coaching tree is very impressive. Leslie Frazier's of the world. I mean, the coaching tree is very rich and great coaches, man. The John Harbaughs. Look, man, he's one of those guys too. And when it comes to defense, I wouldn't want him, or I wouldn't put too many people past Spags. Those guys play hard, and Spags put a lot of those guys in position to make plays, and he has the personnel making plays. And look, Chris Jones is one of the best defensive players of any position in the game of football. He is a game wrecker, and he one of them guys that know how to get after the quarterback. You got to salute Kansas City defense because they made some plays in the fourth quarter. Granted, due to drops from certain individuals, the defense is great. And it's one of them playoff-ready defenses. You know how teams heat up in the playoffs at the right time? Boom, the defense is going. They locked in, man. So this is going to be a great matchup. Can this defense contain Lamar Jackson? Because Lamar Jackson has now adopted the ability to stay in the pocket when that was his knock. He only runs when he needs to run, but he's in that pocket and he's watching the play develop and hitting his guys off. This will be a great matchup, and I can't wait to see what Lamar can do against this defense.
No doubt, which brings us to the prediction phase of the program. So we got an epic matchup, AFC title game. Mahomes, former MVP, Lamar Jackson, former and now current MVP, you could say. For that first game, what are we looking at? Because as you and I were saying, this is I don't want to call it a revenge season for Lamar, but to an extent, it kind of is. Because a lot of people sleeping on him, a lot of people doubting him every step of the way since Louisville, since the draft. And what does this guy do? He just continues to make plays. And now he's just starting to stack wins, right? And so the last thing that he needs to conquer on this journey is that Terminator 1000 Pat Mahomes in this AFC title game. So first, who do you like in this matchup? Chiefs, Ravens.
I'm going with the Ravens because they're at home and it's Lamar Jackson time. It's time. He said at the draft when Deion asked him, what can the Baltimore Ravens expect out of you? And he said, you can expect a Super Bowl out of me. This is the time. Your opportunity is here. You got your playoff win finally. You got your win. Now it's time to go and get the job done. And it's no other person greater to go get to the Super Bowl and to add to your legacy. Pat Mahomes. This is going to be a hell of a matchup. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to go 26, 24. Matter of fact, no. Let me do this. I'm going to say 24-19, Baltimore.
Bam. Okay, 24-19, Baltimore. Lock that in. AFC title game. Now, NFC title game, as you and I were saying. One, Brock Purdy did not look good yesterday, right? He's got glove, grip, throwing issues. I heard somebody out there in the blogosphere compare some of his throws yesterday to a boomerang, which I thought was great. right? And then at the same time, we got the Lions surprising everybody, like you said. Jared Goff kind of finally playing up to his number one pick status, it would seem. So let's unpack that second game, NFC title, Niners, Lions. Who you like?
I know you 49er fans saying y'all played like that because y'all had a 2 week off. Y'all was off for a week, 2 weeks really, because y'all didn't play y'all starters. Then it was raining. That's why they say Purdy had the glove on. I think Green Bay showed what y'all weakness is. And I've always said this. The weakness of the 49ers is their defensive backs. Detroit, Jared Goff, target number 20 for the 49ers. He is easy bake oven, getting cooked by Romeo Dobbs all night long. Go on his side. Make sure you can block. Keep Chase Young, Armstead, and Hargrave and Bosa. If you can give Jared Goff 3.2 seconds of blocking, that play going to develop. He going to hit Amon-Ra. He going to hit Sam Laporta, Khalif Raymond, Jamison Williams. He got weapons along with the running backs, Montgomery and Gibbs. I'm going with Detroit to finally get over the hump, make their first Super Bowl and an upset over the 49ers. 27-20 over the 49ers. Let's go, man.
Boom, lock it in. As we all know, Mr. West Philly Hippie, proven to prognosticate the correct matchups almost every daggone time on this program. Andre, as always, thank you for tapping in. Thank you for the education. We'll do it again next week.
We'll do it again next week, man. Enjoy these games.
Hey, you as well.